Alright everyone, welcome back. This is Paul Gaither. This is Madden NFL 2002. And it's time for us to go into our next off season. Let's load it up. This is the raw footage of the off season. We're obviously going to have a recap at the end, but I thank any and all of you for being here to go through this process with me. Nobody cares about the Pro Bowl. I've tried to play it. Nobody watches it. Like, they abandon it immediately. So, we're going to advance to the off-season, and the first thing we're going to check are the draft classes. Or no, really the first thing I'm going to check are retirements. Okay? I want Curtis Martin to retire. And he did. So did Terrell Davis, finally, after 11 years of service. I mean, that's actually kind of young, 32. But this game just, like, slaps running backs really hard. Right? If I go to rosters, I don't even think we can see the progression of, the running back because he retired. But he was 80 overall, so he lost 5 more points. And he doesn't always retire. Okay, but yeah, losing lots of points, and it's like, I don't want to be paying him. So I'm glad that he retired. He won a Super Bowl. That's what he signed up for. And, he was another example. Can we see the stats? Yeah, he was an example of why awareness, doesn't matter. Because between facing off against Marshall Faulk and using Curtis Martin, we don't see production. In simulated stats, maybe, but we didn't do simulated games. We played the game. And it's not exactly the most aware in the world, and the run blocking, and there's all the kinds of problems with Madden 2002. I want to keep these videos positive, but Madden 2002 definitely has its flaws, and we're going to see the improvements, the huge improvements, by the time we get to Madden 2003 in stark comparison, and it's going to be for a good reason. So, Curtis Martin is an example. We do not even care about the awareness rating of running backs. We care about the other athletic abilities. The strength of break, tackle, catch, speed, all that kind of stuff. So the next thing we need to look at is draft info. And I do not recognize any of these players, which is a good thing. Simply because that means our draft class has not been repeated, and that was a problem that we sometimes run into. So, good. To me, seems fine and worth saving our franchise over. So we're not getting a repeat draft class, and Curtis Martin's retiring after getting his ring. So off-season schedule, let's see who else is saying goodbye. Elvis Gerbeck, Trent Green, Jeff Blake, Trent Dilfer all saying goodbye. Curtis Martin, Terrell Davis, John Whitman, Rod Smith, the Broncos wide receiver, 35. Bill Schroeder, he was cutting us apart with the Green Bay Packers, and then he wasn't a problem for us after that. But you see a lot of this age 35. Can we sort? Yeah, there's some age 38, 36, 37s, a little bit. But 35, 34, all the way to 31, a young age to retire. And I think some of that has to do with their overall, right? 31 is because they're a low overall. 32 here, actually, he might have continued playing, and that's why at 75 overall. But I think the overall and the age combined are what hit players. Okay. Frank Wycheck, thank you for your service, sir. What a fantastic tight end he was. Derek Deese continued playing into 35. We had him in our first year of our franchise. And after that, he ended up going off and doing his own thing and continued to play. No guards or centers. Defensive linemen, no tackles. Junior Seau, rest in peace. Good soldier. What a fantastic person he was. Yeah, he ends up retiring. And, let's see. Beekert of the Raiders. Morton Seahorn. Ray Buchanan. There we go. Those are the retirements. And so this is what we say, like the first draft, the raw footage of this is, I mentioned it in a previous video, I think like our first or second off season, whatever it was, I think our second off season when I first had audio recordings. In real life, you actually know a projection of who is expected to be re-signed, who is expected to hit free agency. We have like projections of like the top free agents, like, oh, this team is going to sign up this guy, or the extension should get done, or whatever, and there are surprise players who can't get it done, but you generally have an idea of who is and isn't available. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to let everyone walk, because we're not saving this. We're going to look at our cap space, we're going to look at what the free agent market is, and we're going to look at the draft projection. We're going to build a draft board, because just like that, your mock drafts abound. And mock drafts are not 100% accurate, but we can build a mock board. So free agency, we can look at rosters, and if we cut everyone, you see all the holes that we have that we need to re-sign players, right? But let us first look at free agency abound. Okay? So our punter situation, I don't think we care. We drafted someone. Elam is definitely someone worth re-signing. So I've got my pen and paper that you can't see, but I say Madden year 5 free agency. Alright, so P punter, don't care. Put an X. Kicker, we want Jason Elam back. Safety situation. We let everyone go. We let Schulters, Mitchell, like, we let everyone go. So, our guys are at the top of the board, and we obviously want Mitchell back. So, we're working backwards. But let's go strong safety. Schulters. And Mitchell. Definitely Mitchell, our draft pick that we're invested in. And at the free safety position, I mean, if we get both of these, we've been asking Lance Schulters to play free safety for us. And that's kind of also a question, like, do we care? So, Schulters has been fantastic for us, even whenever he was in year 1, right? He just got sacks in the 2004 season. There got no sacks here. He was playing free safety then as well. Interesting that the interceptions and all those numbers went down. And the tackle numbers went down because he was playing strong safety for us and he was getting tackles, and he's actually reduced in his tackle production. And it was here Mitchell that picked up the slack. So we could argue that we don't need to pay Schulters at all. We don't need to pay him to have his reduced tackles and no interceptions or anything playing free safety. And you can say, oh, it's my fault for putting him at free safety than strong, but it's like he was still a fantastic player. Maybe we can get the best. Maybe someone else can get the best out of Lance Schulters and pay him a bunch of money as he's getting older. He's 8 years pro and age 30. So he can go get paid somewhere else, I believe. I'm going to scratch his name off my list, and we're going to go with Mitchell. And that was kind of the point, and why we got John Lynch the previous year, was to go help us out, and Lynch proved that despite his ratings, he was getting tackles blown up. So he was a 1-year rental. We got him a ring. But I think we're going to keep Mitchell and say goodbye to Schulters. We want to solve the free safety situation. And this guy, Murphy, 81 overall is nice. Vickers is nice. The speed, the awareness, both are pretty good. But the real question is tackle. And Vickers' 59 tackle is pretty ugly. Okay, so we look at the top tacklers who also have awareness is Murphy. Yeah, Murphy is definitely a target. Not sure if we can afford him. And the 77 speed is fine. Definitely worth something to look into. I don't want to overpay for a free safety when we could still continue to use Lance Schulters, because we're still looking around like $3 million for a position. But that's part of what this scouting situation looks like. Corner Plummer is so interesting. Like, he just keeps raising up. He becomes like a 99 overall, a big money corner. Doesn't win any Pro Bowl awards. It's our second corner that wins the Pro Bowl awards. Right? It was Washington, and it was our rookie draft pick from a couple years ago. View roster, 49ers. Eason, or what was his name? Ingram was an E. Like, Pro Bowls. Right? It's that number 2 corner that gets the Pro Bowl nods. Right? Do we need to overpay at the cornerback position? I mean, we're not hurting for cap room and cap space, but definitely kind of a fan favorite. Yeah, didn't even mean to do that. And definitely worth someone keeping on the team. So I'm going to make a little note, P. Murphy. PHY. And then cornerback, we want to bring Plummer back. And even Plummer, 6 years pro, 29 years old. This could be his final contract. We see players retire at 34, 35 range. We pick him up, 3-4 year deal, whatever. He's at the top of his ability. We're going to be paying him as he's most likely going to begin declining in a few years. And we could even renegotiate contracts or whatever. But yeah, we could definitely bring Plummer back. So I'm going to make that note. Apart from Plummer, we have other 6-7 year pros here at the top of the board. And we've got some younger targets. And looking at our roster, let's go to corners. We still have a few years in the other positions. That 86 speed. Yeah, the strength is not amazing there. The tackle ratings, like, we want good tacklers. That's the thing. Let's go back to free agents. Let's go to corners. Let's go to tacklers, like the best tacklers. Plummer's right up there with them. This is kind of like that range. The awareness. McKenzie, obviously, a good tackler, good awareness. Age 29 as well. Age 27, lacks speed, lacks awareness. Strength, Plummer 63. His character Cook has the highest tackle and the highest strength rating. 70 awareness, 4 years pro. Good jump on a 5'8" body though. Catch is not terrible. I mean, for a corner. Definitely a target. Definitely a target. Yeah, someone to think about for sure. Another, like, jam corner. 78 overall. Let's go review our secondary as well. With Ingram, I mean, like, we're still happy with Webster, but we could do with more strength and tackling ability out of the nickel. Good awareness, all that. Yeah, just kind of looking at the secondary here. So that is the situation. Tackle. So, Lance Cook. L. Cook. Okay. And then put 78 as a potential target. Okay. Linebackers. Julian Peterson. 27 years old. Definitely want OLB. Definitely want to bring Peterson back if possible. Okay. Left outside linebacker. Definitely want to bring Winborn, Born to Win. They have been anchors on our defense. We definitely want them back. And if there are starters, that means we're not really targeting anyone else. At middle linebacker are some targets, but they're probably going to be big money. And this is the other point. Middle linebacker has just not been worth it. We've played against the Dolphins with Thomas at his peak ability. We've played against the Eagles. We've played against the Ravens. In Madden 2003 and beyond, middle linebackers are a lot better because the defense is improved, like their pursuit angles and so forth. They don't have great gap control, but they have better gap control and good pursuit. In this game, middle linebackers are not worth anything, and I don't see any real difference between having Valentine, like a 60-something linebacker, and everything else, as long as we've got that tackle rating to bring guys down and enough speed mobility to, chase across the field. So, not throwing money at these middle linebackers. Defensive tackle, Bryant Young continues to drop, and he is a sticking point for me because as a fan favorite and a personal favorite of mine, I want to keep him with the team. And it's also just good financial sense is really you're going to take a guy with only 86 strength, right? With a sub 90 tackle now, you're going to pay a bunch of money for Bryant Young, or just let him leave. Letting him leave is the right thing to do, right? It really is. Let him go get paid somewhere else is the right thing to do. And moving on with younger players and draft prospects. And his production went down, right? He still played, but his production went down. Then there's the aspect of hanging on to him, letting him retire with the team, but he's also going to be a cap anchor. He's going to continue to decrease. And he still has production. He's still a double-digit sack player, at least last year. And I kind of don't want to let him go. But that's a personal bias, and we shouldn't let that personal bias get in our way. But D-tackle, Young, question mark. I just can't get rid of Young, man. Just can't let him go. Of all players, he's one of the few that you just can't let go. Carter, we can easily say goodbye to. We have our defensive situation set up. Andre Carter was a very good player. In real life as well. But he lacks the strength that we want at a defensive end position. He always has. He doesn't have the awareness, the pass rushing ability. He doesn't have the numbers. And, of course, he won't because he doesn't even really play, in our defense. There was no rotation. That's another thing. As a user, something that I like to do is, rotate players in and out throughout games, right? And I even do that in our substitutions of, nickel and dime and all these situations, and let players at least get a chance, an opportunity to do something. But in 2002, and the fatigue settings and the rotation settings, he doesn't get a chance. And I'm not paying him millions of dollars to literally do nothing. He's 5 years pro. Go get paid to play somewhere else, right? Defensive end, Rice. I'm not going to throw a bunch of money at. He's a legend, but I'm not going to go throw a bunch of money again at a guy with low strength. When I've got guys like this on the board, 89 strength is pretty darn nice, but I think he's going to want a pile of money as well. So, defensive line is important to me. We'll see how it goes. Offensive line, we're pretty set. That's the other thing. View roster, our 49ers. Walter Jones is declining, but we're still paying him. We're going to need a replacement for him. We paid him. We're still happy. Good strength, not amazing. Good awareness. Good numbers. Has been good, but is on the decline. Troy Jackson was our rookie. He improved. Armstrong here Terry. Like, we've got all these guys, like, as a solid offensive line. We're not hunting free agents at all in the offensive line. Tight ends, obviously we have, like, some of the top tight ends in the game, and we're going to try to re-sign them. Wide receiver, Owens, we want to try to keep him if possible. Maybe add a partner, but we already have... See, we already added our guy. We already added Oldham, who had a really good season. Right? Right on target where we wanted him to be. And then, like, Streets and Stokes and all these guys are just kind of, like, there as the third, fourth guys. Not that position isn't important. I mean, Wes Welker was a fantastic, important slot receiver. It's just, Madden 2002 doesn't really use the slot, doesn't use the option routes, doesn't do all that stuff. We're still using base offense with, like, a fullback and 2 wide receivers and 2 tight ends, more than the 3 wide receiver offense of modern NFL. So I think we just kind of keep Owens and keep the contracts that we have. We're happy with our fullback, our running back situation, all of that. Yeah, let's even... we might as well take a look at progressions here. Losing points with Garcia, it's slightly improving our backup quarterback situation. Better with Barlow, better with Trapp and Waller. Fullback got better. Oldham improved. Stokes dropped off the face of the earth with 77 speed. And Mike Jones +1. Who? Mike Jones. Walter Jones lost 4 points. Our guard, our center, and our other guard all improved. Our tackle, they all improved. Engelberger just continues to improve. And Kerr stays the same. Ellis stays the same. We have no defensive tackles, linebackers. Valentine gets even better, like with more awareness and everything. Even this young player, Brad Thomas, our rookie, 24 years old, he shows like maybe we don't need to pay one of our outside linebackers, but I'm still happy keeping Julian Peterson and all that and having Thomas just being a solid backup. Ingram got 7 points. Solid corner right there. And Webster just keeps getting better despite not being allowed to play very much. And Jew also improved. Bronson drops off the face of the earth because he's also not getting playing experience and he's 31. And we know our strong safety situation and all of that. So, when it comes to free agents, we kind of see where we're looking at across the board. So we're going to back out and go to game modes. Load up our franchise. Go to off-season. Go to re-sign players. And Elam wants 185. We were paying him 125. He's gotten worse. Get a real negotiator to replace this fool. We're not signing a long-term... 2 years is a long-term deal, huh? Provide him with adequate cash. Sure, 155 for a 1-year deal. Just keep you on. You're gonna get older. You're gonna reduce. We might even go find a kicker in the draft. I don't know, but I'd rather keep Jason Elam for now. Strong safety situation. Can we get a 3-year deal done? He wants $295, and that's the thing. That's also, he wants $2.9 for Lance Schulters. So you want $295. Will you do $215? And too long. See, they'll do these like deals if it's just like 2 years chunks, right? Will you do it at 35? 55? You'll do it at 55. And so that's the question. What do we do here at that free and strong safety position? Do we pay him a bunch of money to have that lack of production? we let him walk at age 30. He's been an important member of our team, winning Super Bowls. And we're just not getting the maximum use out of him. I think we got to say goodbye. Not that we're in a financial trap right now, but at least for now, we're not going to try to re-sign him. We're getting Pro Bowl performance out of other players for less money, and he wants almost $4 million. So we're going to wait on that deal. Peterson has been a leader of our team, and I have no problem paying him, even though we probably don't need to. Age 27. Can you give us a 4-year deal at $215? Take off years. Sometimes they ask for years. 35? 45. 55. Okay. Fine with that. Lock him up into 9 years pro at age 30 and see what we're looking at. Derek Smith, we are not throwing money at you. We're happy with Valentine and Olbrich. 3-year deal. Yeah, you're getting paid more than our starter. But I think we're happy here. And we're okay with saying goodbye. And Winborn has just been playing on peanuts. So now he's going to cash in big. And you're not as high rated as Peterson that got 55. Will you do this? The checkbook if you want to open him up. Open up the checkbook if you want him. The excessive contract length, no deal. Yeah, just a little bit less, same years. Both guys getting paid. Age 27 to age 30 for both players. So, into age 30. Solid. Linebacker situation taken care of. Spoto is willing to pay for peanuts. Our nose tackle, low overall, into age 31, but that 98 strength and that 91 tackle. McGrew is someone we do not want to throw a bunch of money at. This is a player that maybe if we've started him, he would have grown because he's just constantly getting better and better. Maybe if he was allowed to get stats, he would improve, but it's just that could be another story for another time. And then there's Brian Young. Double-digit sacks, but reducing in all of his abilities. Got to sit on it and wait. Spicer wants $3 million. He's a guy that doesn't want a discount. Go get your money, sir. Go get your money somewhere else. Go get your money, Carter, somewhere else. We're going to find in the draft and free agency cheaper guys, we found Spicer for a while and whoever. And here's the other issue about Bryant Young. Is we have Greg Ellis. And while he does take a little bit of a ratings hit by moving to defensive tackle, we're really happy with Engelberger with his 86 strength and Curse with his 87 strength of being the bookend defensive ends. And then asking Ellis to be one of our D tackles in the 4-3 and even in the nickel and dime situations. And also playing defensive end in the 3-4. But with Spoto as a nose and Ellis playing alongside him inside at a D tackle position, we're pretty happy with that. And that's another reason why I kind of am willing to let Bryant Young go. But I also kind of want to keep him because it's Bryant Young. We'll see how it goes and what we can afford. Guard. He wants a pile of money to be a backup. He wants more money than our starter is earning. It's much better. Boston wants a bunch of money. And again, he was worth it as a backup. And Lawrence wants a bunch of money. They all want a bunch of money. Go get paid somewhere else. Tight ends. Stanley and Ruark. Well, we need to pay Ruark, that's for sure. Will you take 235 for 4 years? Long contract. Not a short enough contract. There you go. We settle it up. And Stanley has improved both his stats, production, everything across the board except his average yards per catch. 5 drops, so that was kind of nasty. But getting involved in the offense. Nobody's signing a long-term deal with no money. Alright. Because we go 2 tight ends, we're going to pay our 2 tight ends. Wide receiver. Owens has been getting paid, and he's reduced in his ability. But he's still a top target and a threat in this game. Do I want to pay him big money over and over? We're going to, like, 1-year deal him. 1-year extension. You were getting $530. Will you take $5.9 for 2 years? You will. You'll take $5.9 for 2 years. And I know you're going to continue to drop off. But we can afford that as a threat for our quarterback. As it's winding down, and we have Oldham, and we need to find more replacements. 32 and 33 years old, getting close to retirement. We can pay you to stay with the team. And so now we've got about just under 30 mil in cap space. And we've got to resolve some more positions. 3.8. What about 2.8 and a 3-year deal? How about 4 years, 3.5? You're happy with the years. And that'll put us like into the 33 rate. Like, we're going to start declining, but he's also been really good for us. He's got really good numbers, like the high awareness, the agility, the acceleration, like even as he drops off. We're definitely going to be paying him big money, but we can renegotiate the contract if he drops off the edge of a cliff. 310, 4 years. 320. If he drops off a cliff, we can still renegotiate. Schulters and Young. 255, 2 years. You want more money. Okay. And Young, just because it's Young. Just because of the name on the back of the jersey and what he's done for this team. There you go. My client held... I tried to make my client hold out for a longer contract. We don't want that big deal. But that's because of his age. So we're still looking at like 19 mil in cap space. And some positions to fill in the draft. And we're basically going to be overpaying him into age 34, 35. Like, he's got to retire eventually. Right? So, letting a linebacker go, letting a safety go, like letting a defensive tackle, some ends, some offensive linemen. Those are some positions that we can release. I think we're going to be happy with that much cap space. Players cost more, 4 or 5 million, and you only sign like a player or two. So that's definitely a thing. View the current free agency. Jamal Lewis at running back is available, but we're happy with the running back that we have. Happy with our fullback. Wide receivers, no big names. Certainly no one that we want to start over Oldham and Owens. Tight ends, do not care. No big offensive tackle to replace Boston and Lawrence. are in the market. We're happy with all of our offensive line positions. Defensive end, we're really going to be looking for backups, and we're not going to pay a bunch of money for backups. We're going to look at backups in the leftover market. Defensive tackles, I think we're happy with the combination of Spoto, Ellis, and Young playing the defensive tackle position. Outside linebacker, again, we're looking at backups and draft picks. We've got 3-year contracts at both our outside linebackers. We're going to be happy at middle. Corner, we're happy with our starter. We're happy with our draft pick that went up 7 points overall and went to the Pro Bowl. Safety position, I think we're still happy going with Schulters and Mitchell as our 2-man combination. So I don't think we care about anyone in free agency. We go to breakdown. 49ers. Yeah, we're loaded. We just need a backup lineman. We don't need to sign anyone to our team. We don't need to draft anyone to our team. Though that's not completely true, because even in the breakdown, they talk about the 53-man roster. We only have 42. We don't even have a 53-man roster. So free agent signing. Have fun. Have a good old time. And our guys decided to stay in-house. So you can make the argument that one of the flaws of Madden 2002 is also the way those contract negotiations work. Is I never had to pay anyone what they were asking for. And I don't remember which game it is right now, if it was 07, I think it was 07, but one of them, they added like what a player was willing to play for, like a team, like player's desires or whatever. And there's just like all kinds of extra features that I believe 07 is the one that added it. But yeah, there's like no free agent bidding, like real bidding, like the so like, oh, team offered and we offered, and like black envelope deals or whatever. But the biggest thing is we're not being pushed on the cap, because players are not taking a hard line in re-signing and extensions, right? They're not trying to be the highest paid player at a position kind of thing. So, Jamal Lewis, the Ravens running back, crosses the picket line, crosses over to the rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers. No big quarterback names to be acquired. Amon Green, aging, goes to the Falcons, away from the Packers, no longer going to haunt us with the Green Bay. But that's the big one right there. Wow. Big time. Heath Evans, okay, whatever. Joe Horn of the Saints goes to Arizona. Freeman stays with the Packers. Like, whatever. Sure, whatever. Steelers go after an offensive lineman. Boston goes... Why do the Dolphins sign 2 guards? I mean, you can play them at either position, I get it. Maybe that's why. And by backing out, I lose who went where. I am dumb. I wanted to look at the Dolphins team, and I didn't get to look at where everyone else went. Whatever. Missed out. Doesn't really matter. Let's look at the leftovers in free agency, though. Look at the leftovers. Quarterbacks, halfbacks, running backs, or fullbacks, wide receivers. Didn't get to see where everyone ended up. But Boston got paid by the Dolphins, and so did another player. Yeah, we didn't get to see where Andre Carter and a few other guys landed out. So all NFL... Carter landed with Miami. So Miami took our left guard and our defensive end. Like, they must have been happy with certain players, huh? Interesting. Spicer was the other one, right? Chico Kiefer still in the league. He was with our team, obviously. And just doesn't have the strength or ability to stay. Maybe if we go by strength, then we can find Spicer faster. There's some really strong players here. Justin Smith, all of them, really good. Would love to have him on our team. He was a real-life legend of the 49ers, becomes a 99 overall. Definitely, in real life, he's not even as strong as he was in real life. Right? Later in Madden, he ended up getting that, like, 99 strength or whatever. And those high abilities. Be really nice to get him. But in another Madden. Yeah, Ellis is still one of the top guys, though. Here it's in the top of the screen. And we've got him. And Curse is still at the top. Did he not get picked up by anyone? I bet he didn't. No, he didn't. He didn't get picked up by anybody. He wanted a pile of money, and no one's going to throw that at you. Okay. NFL linebackers. Trotter went right back with the Eagles where he came from. Zach Thomas right back to the Dolphins. So they stuck with their teams. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Okay. And that takes us to the draft. So let us save here. I'm going to hit save. We are happy with free agency. We're happy with our roster. And I need to take a pause. I need to use the restroom. I need to help out my wonderful wife, who came to the door and politely and quietly called for attention. And we're at almost 45 minutes. This is a good place to pause our live streaming, not live streaming, but like live, reaction of the off season. And we'll get into part 2 of the draft, which is a huge aspect. And after the draft, you just reset rosters, and then you do start of the leftover free agency. So we'll save that for the part 2. Thank you for watching, if you have been watching. I'll see you in part 2.